gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to London, welcome to Regent Street, just there behind me. It's April, and that's what I'm going to share with you, a little of life here in town this month. First up, it's Easter. Easter falls on the first weekend of April this year, which means the first two bank holidays of the year, Good Friday and Easter Monday. So for many lucky Brits who don't have to work, it's a 4-day weekend. I thought first up I'd share some of the traditional food and drink for the Easter weekend. So I'm going to head to one of London's best bakers, which is just here by Carnaby Street, just off Regent Street, Bread Ahead, and get a Easter tradition, a hot cross bun. Bread Ahead have a bakery and bakery school over in London Bridge at Borough Market and another in London's Chelsea. They make phenomenal bread, cakes and pastries and are especially renowned for their donuts. They also have this handy store and cafe here on Beak Street in the heart of Soho, just off Carnaby Street. Generally speaking, hot cross buns are quite plain by modern baking standards. A simple bun sweetened a little with currants or raisins and a little spice like cinnamon and or citrus fruit peel, and feature a cross on top. I'm quite sure there are hundreds of variations of the recipe. Bakeries traditionally sold them and people ate them on Good Friday, the Friday before Easter Sunday. Today many people will eat them and enjoy them throughout the season. The history of these little buns is hundreds of years old. Apparently back in 1592, selling them here in London at any time other than burials, Good Friday or at Christmas was banned. But I guess that law no longer stands. We have other things to worry about today rather than sticky buns. Things have changed since 1592 and hot cross buns are no longer on the Class A list. Okay, success. Hot cross bun from Bread Ahead. Let's try this. Hopefully they're fresh, because if they're not fresh, I normally butter them. Cross is a bit wonky on this one. Let's give it a go. It's really good. Benefit from a little bit of butter. Alright, I'm on Carnaby Street right now. Another popular treat, I guess, this time of year. People give Easter eggs, chocolate Easter eggs as gifts. So I thought I'd take on a little tour of some of London's finest chocolate shops, best places to buy not just Easter eggs, but chocolates all year round. So let's head to central London's finest chocolate shops. Okay, this is Said. I'm sure the Italians pronounce it far more flamboyantly. It's a Italian chocolate shop and they serve some of the best hot chocolate in town. Said is one of Rome's oldest chocolate factories and they serve some of the best hot chocolate in London. If you're in Soho for dinner, especially if you're on a date, don't look at the dessert menu after dinner, just come straight here. Okay, hazelnut hot chocolate from Said here in Soho. We'll let this cool down a little bit. It's phenomenal. It tastes like liquid. I've had it quite a few times. It tastes like liquid chocolate sponge pudding. Let's get about to describe it. Right, enjoy this while we head to the next renowned chocolate shop, which is just down this street. Okay, just here on the corner of Broadwick Street and Wardour Street, this bright purple store. It's Paul A. Young, renowned chocolatier here in London, famous for their unusual flavour combinations. Check out these amazing looking Easter eggs in the window. Compared to some of the older chocolate shops here in London, Paul A. Young is a relative newcomer. However, his passion and creativity have led him to become ranked as not just one of the best chocolate shops in London, but one of the best chocolatiers in the world. Okay, right, that's the way chocolate's cooled down. Let's head to the next phenomenal chocolate shop. Okay, behind me is this arcade, which looks like a terrible mess right now. Looks a little bit better from this end right now. However, in here is one of my favourite chocolate shops. So let's pop down here and get some chocolate. So this is Prince's Arcade. It runs between Piccadilly here and Jermyn Street at the other end. It's undergoing renovation right now, so it doesn't look at its best. However, by the time you visit, the stores will be occupied once again, the renovations will be complete, and they are amazing places to come shopping, beautiful places just to come window shopping. And the arcade is home to Prestat Chocolates. Prestat Chocolates is one of London's oldest chocolate shops, having first been established back in 1902. Prestat have had some very high profile customers over the last century, including the late Queen Mother and today Her Majesty the Queen herself. Princess Diana was a fan, and most notably Roald Dahl, author of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, who was such a fan he based one of his novels, My Uncle Oswald, entirely around Prestat truffles. Okay, myself a mini bar, Prestat chocolate, roasted almonds, sea salt, and scrummy milk chocolate, it says. Let's give this a go. While we head to another renowned London chocolate shop. Have I tried this one before? Tried Prestat chocolate, but not this time. That is phenomenal. Definitely recommend a visit there. Right, let's head just around the corner to another famous chocolatier. Okay, just here on Old Bond Street is this arcade, the Royal Arcade, and the corner store here is Sharp Nail Walker, another phenomenal chocolate shop.
First founded in 1875, Charbonnel and Walker is one of Britain's first and finest chocolatiers. Encouraged by Edward VII, the then Prince of Wales, Charbonnel and Walker formed as a partnership between Mrs Walker, renowned for her beautiful gift packaging, and Madame Charbonnel from an esteemed chocolate house in Paris. The original shop opened at 173 New Bond Street here in Mayfair, and the company has remained in Bond Street ever since. Today, Charbonnel and Walker is housed in one of London's most elegant arcades, the Royal Arcade, here on Old Bond Street. The company has had many legendary customers, from royalty, including Her Majesty the Queen today, to aristocracy, socialites and screen legends.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this little tour of some of London's most renowned chocolate shops. Obviously, I've barely scratched the surface. Hopefully give you some ideas of where to start. So, I'll see you guys a little later in the month. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to London. Right now I'm starting out beside London's Trafalgar Square at the junction where Piccadilly meets the Mall, Whitehall and Charing Cross. And since 1663, where I'm standing, or the brass plaque beside my feet, has been considered the very centre of London. But us Brits have this knack of coming up with charming nicknames for pretty much everything, from buildings to bikes, that make sense to us but often leave visitors and tourists completely bewildered and confused. So it comes as no surprise that this area that I'm in, and in particular the part I'm heading into, is also colloquially known as the West End. But more about that and why it's relevant in a moment. London is renowned for very many things. Something it's world famous for is the arts, in particular the performing arts and theatre. And my family are big fans of the theatre. Living here in this city, it would be silly not to take advantage of everything the city has to offer. It would be silly to take access to world-class art for granted. So this evening I'm going to meet my little sister for dinner and drinks to catch up. Beforehand we're going to go and watch a show, a very special performance of a very special show. Before we get to the theatre, I thought I would share with you, for anyone who's interested in coming to the theatre here, whether you're a seasoned theatre goer looking for tickets for your first show, I thought I'd share with you somewhere that might be of interest for you to get tickets. So let's go.
So why is this area very close to the centre of London called the West End of London, and why is it often linked to the theatre industry? Historically, this was not the centre of town. The City of London, often called just the City, was the centre and the very heart of London for centuries, and this area is just next to and west of the city. Today the city is renowned as the home of London's financial services sector, and today the West End, which is home to many of London's major visitor attractions, shopping streets and entertainment venues, is a far more popular destination with visitors than the city. The term the West End I hear used less and less, because the area it encompasses is large and pretty vague, and the areas within it like Covent Garden, Soho, Mayfair, Marylebone or Fitzrovia have stronger independent identities than they have ever had, except that is when it comes to theatre. West End seems to add an air of prestige or endorsement to a show, so we still have West End shows and West End theatre venues. Fortunately, it's a huge area and there are many of them. There is a huge concentration of theatres in the area between the River Thames or the Strand all the way up to Oxford Street.
Okay, welcome to London's Leicester Square, home of the TKTS Theatre Ticket booth.
TKTS here in Leicester Square is a great place to buy London theatre tickets, especially if you're here, you're ready to watch a show and you're flexible. TKTS is run by the Society of London Theatres, and the original idea was to benefit theatres by simply filling otherwise empty seats. So if your show is popular, the tickets will be full price. If the theatre is not full, the tickets will be discounted. TKTS has been in Leicester Square for more than 30 years and is famous for its excellent on-the-day deals and half-price bargains. It's no secret. So every time I walk past here, people are looking at the listings and queuing for tickets. TKTS is open 7 days a week. You can only buy theatre tickets in person only for performances today, tomorrow and the next day. However, if you know what you want to see and when, I wouldn't gamble on availability. Book tickets with the theatre in advance. There is so much to choose from here in London: plays, musicals, operas, dance and so much more. Ticket prices go up and down depending on availability, so the more flexible you are with dates and times, the more seats and better deals will be available. Show previews for upcoming shows, which are effectively rehearsals for both cast and venue before official opening night, are a great way to see shows first before all your family and friends, but also at reduced prices. The society behind TKTS also organise West End Live in Trafalgar Square, a whole day of free show previews, and the Olivia Awards, which celebrates the best London theatre has to offer, and both are fabulous events to watch and also an excellent source to find shows you want to see.
Okay, so from the TKTS ticket booth here in Leicester Square, I'm going to head up to the theatre and to meet my little sister.
So, the show we're seeing tonight is The Mousetrap at the St Martin's Theatre, a play by Agatha Christie. The Mousetrap first opened back in 1952, making it today the world's longest running show. When it first opened, Winston Churchill was Prime Minister, tea and sugar were still rationed, and Queen Elizabeth had been on the throne less than a year. Agatha Christie is the best-selling fiction author to date. Her works sell more than Shakespeare, and the only work to outsell her is the Bible. Agatha Christie wrote crime novels in the golden age of the genre. She is the queen of the whodunit.
Okay, it's the St Martin's Theatre, home of the Mousetrap. Show my sister and I will be watching this evening, and it's just opposite the original and renowned Ivy restaurant.
So as you can see from the neon signs on the theatre, the Mousetrap's celebrating its 66th year.
So now I just need to find my little sister.
So with such a long history, there are many stories about the Mousetrap, one of which is a lady got one of London's black taxis here. She jumped out, paid the driver and went to run into the theatre. The black cabbie, realising he'd been shortchanged, then shouted out to her who done it, potentially ruining the show for her.
Okay guys, I've met my little sister, so we're ready to see this evening's show, so let's head into the theatre.
The plot of The Mousetrap is the timeless whodunit in a very quintessential British setting. A big old country house, the guests are snowed in, and then the drama with a very British sense of wit unfolds on stage.
Okay, collecting the tickets from the box office. Got a programme. This here counts down the total number of performances to date of this record-breaking show.
Obviously, to really enjoy the show, nobody should walk into this theatre for the first time knowing who'd done it. So after every performance, audiences are asked by a member of the cast to keep the secret of whodunit locked in their hearts to avoid spoiling the mystery for future audiences. And as a matter of principle, to avoid spoiling the enjoyment of the play for people who want to go and see it, both audiences and critics had kept the secret. Even in the age of information and the internet, the show's famous tagline simply progressed from "keep the secret" to #KeepTheSecret. There is, and probably always will be, someone so desperate for clicks and views who doesn't respect the long tradition who will publish it online. So if you're planning to see the show, don't search too hard. But it's amazing really if you consider the tens of thousands of shows to date and multiply that by the size of the audience. Millions of people have kept this secret, and in doing so, the mystery of the Mousetrap alive and well for future audiences.
Okay, we're in the dress circle of the St Martin's Theatre, so we've got incredible views of the stage. It's a beautiful theatre.
And welcome to the St Martin's Theatre and the 27,296 performance of the show that Agatha Christie thought she might get a nice little run of about 8 months. Tonight is a very, very special performance because it is the 60th anniversary today of the Mousetrap being the longest running show in the world. It beats Chu Chin Chow that was on at His Majesty's Theatre in 1916. So that's not bad, is it? So, congratulations for being here on this very special night, and I hope you enjoy this performance of the Mousetrap. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your warm reception this evening. Now that you've seen the Mousetrap, you're our partners in crime. So in order to preserve the tradition of the Mousetrap, we ask that you keep the secret of who done it locked in your heart.
Okay. The Mousetrap was brilliant. Bravo to tonight's cast. It's a fabulous performance by all of them. It's incredible to think that in the 1950s, although the whodunit stories timeless, the characters are very much of the period of when the first show was in town in the 1950s. But today it's become a period drama. The tagline of the show has always been "Keep the secret." It's now, even in the modern day of the internet, become one of Britain's best kept secrets, and it's now hashtag Keep the Secret. Okay, so we're going to go for dinner and drinks. See you guys a little later in the month. Okay, one of the biggest events here in London this month is the London Marathon, and it's today. So I've come to the 25 mile mark of this year's marathon. Started nearly 2 hours ago, so soon the elite men will be coming past here. Big crowds here to cheer everyone on. Tens of thousands of people will be running the marathon this year, even more people watching, all to raise money for good causes. However, this weekend has been the hottest weather on record for something like 70 years. That was one of the first elite man to run past, so contender for the lead. That's quite a pace, because they've already done 25 miles in this heat. It's about 23, 24 degrees centigrade. Yesterday it was 26, 27 in St James's Park, just by the finishing line. So yeah, not ideal conditions to go for a 26.2 mile jog. heading up towards the actual finish line of the marathon here on the Mall, in front of Buckingham Palace. Yesterday they recorded some of the warmest temperatures on record for April here in London, right here in St James's Park, and the finishing line is right behind us there. So it's a beautiful day for spectators, but not so much fun for this year's runners. That is Buckingham Palace. The finish line is just there.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So let's go and cheer on some of the runners as they run the last half a mile to the finish line. Okay, now at the 600 metres to go marker. Okay, there's a bridge across the Buckingham Palace here at the 385 yards to go marker. Okay, I'm going to end here, just outside Buckingham Palace. Great views here down the Mall, which looks phenomenal, decorated with Union Jacks. Great views of the finishing line of the London Marathon from here.
Oh, okay.
So I hope you enjoyed this look at London here during the month of April, and see you guys next month. Toodles. Okay guys, found my London Marathon finishing line.